Dear Jewel, I left you with a few things to always hold on to. Loyalty, elusiveness, and brute force.
The final moments of Batman Episode 1 pose an interesting question. What happens to Bruce Wayne when the core beliefs that guide him are undermined? Episode 2, Children of Arkham, doesn't really answer that question, and instead shifts focus to establishing the villain. As a result, it's an episode that has some unexpected moments, but ultimately feels less narratively ambitious than its predecessor. Although Bruce and his crime-fighting alter ego might get the most screen time, Oswald Cobblepot is the focal point of this episode.
Let him go.
Batman!
When we last saw him, he spoke of an impending revolution, and the sparks of that revolution ignite in episode 2. Telltale does a good job of presenting Oswald as a complicated character. His actions are undoubtedly villainous, which shouldn't come as a surprise given that he's a penguin, but revelations about the downfall of his family earn him some sympathy. You'll never quite root for him over Batman, but when his justifications are revealed, it becomes easier to understand what's driving him. Unfortunately, Telltale's depiction of Penguin isn't all that charismatic. He schemes and grandstands, but it's never in a way that's thrilling to watch.
Stage fright, huh? Alright, I'll get you started, but this is your show.
Thankfully, episode 2 alludes to there being a bigger, badder villain behind the scenes. This episode is also about Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, whose deepest, darkest secrets are laid bare for all to see. What you learn about him would be more shocking if TV show Gotham hadn't just used a very similar plot. So in that respect, Telltale series isn't treading new ground, but it does place Bruce in a much harsher light. The dynamics of some of his relationships change. Harvey Dent, for example, was banking on the wholesome Wayne name to propel his mayoral campaign, but his friendship with Bruce becomes a liability. There's a growing tension between the two that Telltale uses very well. It creates situations where lashing out at Harvey would be understandable, but knowing it could have big consequences going forward may stay your hand. The shift in Bruce's relationship with Alfred, meanwhile, is more subtle. In episode 1, Alfred is the voice of dissent. However, after some hard truths about Alfred are revealed, he becomes more supportive. Given what Bruce learns about him, it feels like Alfred is doing this to recover some lost respect. Or perhaps it's because he's seeing the Wayne identity being corroded, and is pushing Bruce into seeking solace in a new persona. For the most part, Telltale's Alfred embodies the faithful butler archetype, but there are shades of something more there which I hope I explored further.
I've been dreading this day for nearly 2 decades. I hoped it would never come.
Forget the papers. I want to hear it from you.
The results of your decisions in episode 1 also start to reveal themselves in Children of Arkham, but none are significant. It's mostly whether you're friendly with Vicky Vale or Jim Gordon, based on who you turned the evidence over to in the last episode. Episode 2 has its fair share of decision-making moments, but there's nothing much to fret over. In fact, there's only really one moment in the episode that will give you pause, and you'll know it when it happens. I played through the episode twice, and the first time around the result of my choice felt inconsequential. The second time, however, the impact my decision had was profound, so I'd recommend switching to another save slot and experiencing both branches of the story. While Children of Arkham pushes the story forward, it takes a step back in gameplay. The crime scene investigation, which was key to making Telltale's game feel like a well-rounded Batman experience, is missing from episode 2. This time around there's no mystery to unravel, as all the investigations are simply a matter of clicking a series of interaction points. The closest episode 2 gets to making you feel like a detective is when you have to triangulate a phone signal, which involves moving a drone around a map until an on-screen indicator goes green. Hardly detective work. Unfortunately, there are no other memorable moments that will make you feel like the world's greatest detective. The puzzle-like combat sequences from episode 1 make a return, and they still feel like a clever way to represent Batman's foresight and battle prowess. But without the crime scene investigation, and amongst all the QTE sections, it also serves to highlight the lack of gameplay variety in episode 2. Anyone expecting Telltale to continue deconstructing Bruce Wayne and his alter ego will come away from Children of Arkham unsatisfied. It effectively lays the groundwork for future events, with the help of a few unexpected twists. But in leaving out meaningful detective work, it falls short of the series' first episode.
You fight pretty good, for such a pretty boy.